So today I just wanted to take a quick look at Casper, the 1995, I guess you could say, comedy film. This has definitely been an enjoyable film for me throughout my youth, especially the fact that you do have Christina Ricci playing Kat Harvey in the film. Obviously, for a lot of people born during a certain time period, Christina was the it girl. Obviously if she wasn't admired, she's actually, she's at least very known as a iconic actress, just because she is someone that certain people grew up with, and for crying out loud, she was Wednesday Addams. How can you not respect that? But within this film, obviously just quickly brushing over the plot, because I'm assuming most of us are familiar with this film. You do have Kerrigan, who is a spoiled woman. She stood to gain some money supposedly from her father, who has passed away, and he left her with a condemned mansion instead, which she suspects has treasure inside of it, and she's pretty much just trying to rid the home of the ghost haunting that mansion so that she can get access to that money. So she does hire on several different people to assist her with this. So we do get a few cameos at the beginning of the film. The first cameo was Father Guido Sarducci, who played a priest on SNL back in the 70s. So he's called in to try and exorcise the home. He obviously has his head twisted around, and he obviously cannot do this. So they call in Dan Aykroyd. He temporarily reprises his role as Dr. Raymond Stantz from Ghostbusters, and obviously he cannot do this thing either. Ironically, Aykroyd and the man who played Father Guido, they were both players on SNL during the same time period, so I just found that a bit interesting. But eventually Kerrigan does hire on a Dr. James Harvey. Obviously this suggestion is given to her by Casper, but of course Kerrigan doesn't question it. She doesn't care. She just wants her lousy money. So she hires this poor guy on, and he's just kind of trying to make his way through, I guess, giving these ghosts their therapy sessions that he has been hired on to assist them with, so that they can cross over and essentially get out of her way, leaving the house empty. I guess one of the interesting tidbits here is, of course, Dr. James Harvey as well as Kat Harvey. Their surname is actually in reference to Harvey Comics, which is the publisher of Casper, the Friendly Ghost. So that was definitely done by design there. So throughout the film, we do just get a few humorous gags here and there. Obviously one of the more notable ones being Dr. Harvey on their first encounter scooping the ghosts up into a vacuum cleaner. Of course, within the following scene where Christina Ricci walks into the kitchen with a dustbuster, that gag's pretty much just old by now, and even then at the time when the film was new, I just kind of rolled my eyes at it like, I'm over it, let's move on. But, the film definitely does have its charm. It holds the interest. It's definitely dated as a 90s film. The clothing definitely makes it very obvious, but in my opinion, it still holds up well. I mean, it's still a film that people of various ages can still enjoy, young and old. So throughout the course of the film, obviously, Kat takes an interest with a young boy, and I guess totally oblivious or just ignoring the fact that Casper likes her as well. But I guess Carrie style, they're set up. So the boy is just kind of pushed into inviting Kat to be his date to the dance, which is being held at her house. And of course she gullibly accepts because she likes the guy. They obviously do get their comeuppance, but throughout the course of these evening events, there's talk of a resurrection machine. Ultimately, Dr. Harvey winds up needing that because he accidentally dies while out drinking for the night with Fatso, Stretch, and Stinky, who are essentially Casper's evil uncles. But he accidentally dies, so they resurrect Dr. Harvey, thus Casper losing his opportunity to be resurrected as a living boy in order to be with Kat, which, to me, just time-wise, just doesn't really quite work, because in the backstory, when Casper is stating how he had passed away from pneumonia, if I'm remembering correctly, he states that he was 12 years old. Kat is in junior high, which is essentially, you know, considerably older than him. But when Casper does get his Cinderella wish to come back as a human, obviously temporarily, they do seem to be within the same age range. But, you know, even then, you know, just how children's maturity levels, I don't think a 12-year-old would really be too interested in someone older than him. I could be wrong. You know, everyone's different. But they pretty much are, I guess, real-life counterparts, set to be the same age, which ironically, Christina Ricci is playing a junior high kid. She is actually 14 years old at the time, and Devon Sawa, who was playing the real-life counterpart to Casper, if I'm remembering correctly, was 16 at the time. So not too big of an age gap there, and they totally still both look like babies in this movie. But you know, everyone, in my opinion, turned out a very great performance. It's not a bad movie, and like I said, it's definitely very enjoyable. It's one that I enjoyed watching throughout my youth. You know, it's one that, as I've gotten older, has slipped its way into my Halloween rotation as far as things that I habitually watch year-round, which is pretty much what this series is about, is I'm just kind of sharing my Halloween tradition with you guys. But yeah, so throughout the course of the film, obviously the filming process, of course the ghosts were added in later by CGI. So as place markers, the actors had to interact with tennis balls in order to get their placement and everything. Definitely not the easiest thing in the world to do, but they pull it off splendidly, especially Bill Pullman in the, once again, the kitchen scene where he runs into Casper the following morning after the interaction with the evil uncles, and he's a bit skittish, and he kind of just does like this weird winding walk around Casper because he's really not too sure if he can trust him or not. But I think that was just very well played. But those are pretty much just my quick thoughts and observations on the film, I guess you could say. If anyone else has anything else to add, or if you'd just like to talk about your favorite moments from the film, I would definitely love to continue that with you. But that is all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later.